There's no way around this game 5. This was a tough loss for the Indiana Fever. They were so close to pulling it out. A couple of things that stood out to me in this game is, number one, the Fever have such resiliency that it's next woman up, and it doesn't matter who's out there. They keep fighting, they keep battling, they fight to the bitter end. And kudos to this entire team because they've had a bunch of things happen this year, whether you know about the Caitlin Clark injuries. We remember how the Chicago Sky accused the Fever's fans of racism. There's an investigation that went on, and they found nothing from those accusations. And then we go to the WNBA Commissioner's Cup. Clark couldn't play that game, and they still beat the Lynx. And you're thinking to yourself, if the Fever can just get healthy for the playoffs and can have a stretch of like 4 or 5 games, they play really good to close out the regular season. Clark's leading the charge. They've got a shot. And unfortunately, more injuries took place. We get to the playoffs, and the expectation is, okay, just get a game against the Dream or just be competitive. No, they go win in 5 games. Then they meet up against the Aces. I've been saying this whole time, they're playing with house money. No matter the result, they have no expectations to even be in this series. Yet they're in a game 5. There's less than 30 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. It was a loose ball foul on Aaliyah Boston where she fouls out. It's a ticky-tack call, in my opinion, because I would like to see that play just go uncalled because it's game 5, it's an elimination game. I understand she didn't have enough verticality. Obviously, you could argue that, well, she still bumped Jackie Young out the way because she went for the ball, Jackie Young did. However, the game was tied. Aaliyah Boston's got 5 fouls, and it would have been nice, even if they don't take the lead, the Fever, in that scenario, and they go to overtime, and the Aces still win, and Boston, let's say, gets fouled out with like 2 minutes left in overtime. I'm okay with that. But I would just like to see the Fever have a chance because what they did in the fourth quarter was unbelievable. Kelsey Mitchell goes down in the third quarter, out for the rest of the game. And then what happens? It seems like the Aces are going to run away with it. I believe it was 79 or 78-71. The Fever in that situation brought back Breonna Turner because Howard, even though she can get buckets in transition on defense, she was just getting killed out there. So they bring back in Turner. She was looking really good. And the defense just clamped up, shut everything down, and they got it to 84-84. And you're thinking, the Fever might have a shot to pull this out. And unfortunately, it didn't happen because of that foul, and I didn't like it, like I said. Now, you can't turn the ball over 21 times in the game, and I've said this constantly, that the Fever have a smaller margin for error because when you have Sims and Mitchell who are scoring first guards and Stephanie White is asking to be passing first guards, that's hard to adjust because of your tendencies to score the basketball first, which is understandable because you got to score on this roster. But you see the turnovers tonight, and that really killed them, in my personal opinion. So it says 19. I thought it said 21. Let me actually look at the stats again because I could have sworn I saw 21 turnovers. Yeah, 21 total turnovers for the Fever. So you can't win a basketball game when you turn over that much, and they scored 31 points off of turnovers. The Aces did. Doesn't mean the Fever didn't fight, didn't show effort. Leah Boston, 16 big rebounds. I wish Lexi Hall knocked one of her threes down. That would have been huge just to shift the momentum and really get the Fever possibly taking the lead at some point. Who knows? The foul calling on Boston versus AJ Wilson is hilarious to me because AJ Wilson had 2 fouls versus Boston's 6 fouls. And this is after AJ Wilson said, oh, you know what? Maybe Aaliyah Boston got a special whistle. She alluded to that, even though it's obvious that AJ Wilson gets a ton of calls. There's no doubt about it. It is what it is. You know, the ceiling for this team was, in my opinion, the first round after all the injuries, but they got to the second round. They were 1 rebound away from having an opportunity to advance to the WNBA Finals. I'll take that any day of the week. And of course, they've got to figure out some choices this offseason because Sophie Cunningham and Natasha Howard and Kelsey Mitchell are expected to be unrestricted free agents. So who do you bring back? My personal opinion, Sophie Cunningham's at the top of the list and Kelsey Mitchell. If you want to bring back Natasha Howard, cool. But I might lean more towards giving Michaela Tipson a bigger role because she's a rookie, and I think she's deserving of a bigger spot on this roster. She's got potential. She's got versatility. So I would like to see her get more playing time. But overall, the Fever should be encouraged. I understand the pushback with Caitlin Clark where Stephanie White might not give her the keys to play freely out there on offense. That is definitely a concern. I'm not going to dismiss that. I'm not going to act like the foul calls against the Fever this year was atrocious. It was very egregious, and they still found a way to get this far. Next season, you can't give Stephanie White a long leash, because if we see the same results where you have a healthy roster and there's frustration with Caitlin Clark's offense because White is not allowing her to play her style, then you need to move on from Stephanie White, in my personal opinion. Because yes, you got to the semifinals, that's great, but the expectation next season is the Fever should be going to the WNBA finals. That should be the goal for this team, and to win the championship. So if White is smart next year, she would make those adjustments. You can keep your defensive schemes, that's fine, but recognize you've got scoring first guards and offensive minded players. So you have to implement a balance where, yes, you've got some defenders who can lock things down, but you got Kelsey Mitchell who can score like the best of them. You've got Caitlin Clark, obviously, who can score or assist on a lot of different plays. And you just have to feed into those players more and maximize their ceilings. If you don't, move on from White. It's not worth it. And if Clark wants out, I can't blame her, but I don't think she will. I think she's going to ride it out in Indiana for a little bit. Anytime there's frustrations with star players' careers early on, they tend to stick around to see if it works out. But the Fever need to take this offseason very serious, and they need to look at it as a huge opportunity, because you see what's going on with the New York Liberty. They could have an entirely different roster next year. The only team that's going to be in the Fever's way is the Minnesota Lynx, in my opinion. At that point, unless there's something drastic that happens, maybe the Storm, because they have a head coaching vacancy, they pick up Sandy Brondello, and then Stewie follows Sandy to Seattle, and Sabrina goes somewhere and changes the dynamic of the conference and helps a team get to contender status. I don't know, but the Fever need to take this offseason very serious and look at it as an opportunity to make a run next year, because we see this roster when they're healthy. They are one of the best teams in the WNBA, no doubt about it. But you've got to unlock Caitlin Clark. You cannot confine her to a specific role on offense. That's not her style, and it doesn't maximize her talent. So I believe Caitlin Clark's going to come back with a vengeance. She's going to hear all the chatter about, oh, the Fever didn't need Caitlin Clark. See, they should build around Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boss, and Lexi Hall. I saw that. I'm like, you don't know basketball. So Caitlin Clark's going to be motivated, and I'm excited for the Fever's season. We'll see when it does happen. I don't know if it's going to happen right away or we're going to have a lockout. I'm expecting a lockout, and we might not have basketball until the middle of the summer. Wouldn't shock me whatsoever. But if they end up starting to begin the season, great. However, based on the things I'm seeing out there, it might not happen. We shall see. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I want to hear your thoughts about the Game 5 between the Fever and the Aces. And what are your expectations going forward for the Indiana Fever for next season? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you on the next one.